everyone, so this video is on understanding the number line, okay? Now you all will know what a number line is, okay? And it's about understanding what happens when it's a negative and how to use the number line when we're doing calculations. Okay, so as you can see, I've done a vertical number line, okay? And the numbers going up here are getting bigger, and this way they're getting smaller. So I'm going to put that on my number line first of all. So I'm going to turn it and I'm going to put increasing, okay, because that would be the word for getting bigger. So increasing, we're going this way, and decreasing is obviously going this way because they're getting smaller and smaller, okay? Now we're going to talk about in a bit why they're getting smaller and smaller and why they're getting bigger and bigger, okay? But the other thing that we need to use our number line for is adding and subtracting, okay? So if I said to you 1 plus 3, you would be able to tell me the answer is 4, because what you would do is you would start on 1, okay, plus 3, so we jump 1, 2, 3, so we land on 4, okay? So also when it's increasing, that's the direction in which we would go for adding, okay? So when we're adding, okay, we go up the number line, okay? So what do you think I'm going to say now? Okay, yeah, so when we subtract or take away, we go down the number line. So for example, 5 take away 2, I'd start on 5 and I'd move 2 places down the number line, okay? So this way is taking away. Okay, right. So what have we got on our number line here? We've got positive and negative numbers. So my positive numbers are my numbers above 0, aren't they? So I'm going to label these positive, okay? And my negative numbers are my ones below 0, okay? And these are negative, okay? If we're in class, what I do now is we'd have a discussion around where you might have seen positive and negative numbers, okay? Obviously we see positive numbers all the time, but where might we see negative numbers is at the bank, okay, if you haven't got any money, if it's gone into your debt, okay? We might see it in temperature. That's a good one, isn't it? Someone said to me, a lift, yeah, because you can go under the ground, okay? So we do see negative numbers around, okay? But what I want us to talk about is how the negative number line works, okay? And what we do is we always compare our number to 0, okay? Because 0 is in the middle of the positive and negative numbers, isn't it? Okay? And what we've got is we've got a situation which is where they're opposites, aren't they? Okay? So if we look at 3 and negative 3, they're both the same distance away from 0, aren't they? So how would we, if my number line was this way, for example, I wouldn't be able to say that 3 or negative 3 was bigger. Okay, that's why I've done my negative line this way, my number line this way, so that I can see, well, actually 3 is above 0, okay, and negative 3 is below 0. So that's why that's why negative 3 is smaller, and that's why positive 3 is bigger. However, they are complete opposites, aren't they? So 3 is the opposite of negative 3. 6 is the opposite of negative 6. 1 is the opposite to negative 1. And when we've got opposites like that on our number line, they make 0, okay? So if I've got 4 and I have negative 4, it'll make 0, okay? If we've got 1 and a negative 1, it makes 0. And that's going to help you when it comes to looking at the next part of this topic, when we're looking at using the negative squares to help us work out answers, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about which numbers are bigger, okay? So I've got two numbers here. I've got 3 or 5, okay? So 3 or 5, which is bigger, okay? So I want you to make a decision. Okay, so I'm hoping that you've said 5 is bigger, okay? But the question is, do you understand why it's bigger? Okay, so you could have said it's further up. Okay, it's higher up on the number line. Okay, that's a good reason. And also because it's further away from 0, it's bigger. Okay, and it's bigger than 3, isn't it? Because it's higher up than 3. Okay, all right, what about the next one then? -1 or -6. Now this is one that confuses people an awful lot. So have a think. Which one is going to be bigger? -1 or -6? Okay, it's -1. Okay, now this one is a tricky one to explain. So it makes sense, doesn't it, that we think that -6 is bigger because the number is bigger. However, if we're looking at it compared to 0, which one of them is further away or lower down? Okay, so -1 is higher up the line, isn't it, than -6. So this one is bigger. One, because it's closer to 0, okay, but actually it's further down our number line, isn't it? Okay, -6, that's much smaller, okay, because they're getting smaller as they get further away, aren't they? So we've got to remember that if the number's big and it's a negative, it's much, much smaller, okay, they're getting smaller. Okay, what about this last one? 4 or -4? Okay, so decide which one is bigger. Okay, so this time I'm hoping you've chosen that it's 4. Okay, now this one, why are we saying that it's 4? Okay, now we can't say on this one because of how far away it is from 0, because actually these are opposites, aren't they? So they're exactly the same distance away from 0. Okay, let's think about how we could describe it then. Well, this one is further up from 0, isn't it? And we're using that word up or above because it's bigger than 0. Okay, so we know that this one is bigger and this one is smaller. Even though they're opposites and they're the same distance away from 0, the +4 is bigger than the -4. Okay, so have a look at my next video on how to use the negative tiles, okay, negative squares or counters, whatever we're going to use, and you can see how to apply some of the skills that we've talked about here using those.